everyone, welcome to Maths with Anigraha. In today's lesson, we'll be going through cumulative frequency. So cumulative frequency is a relatively easy topic. You just need to keep certain things in mind. So what is cumulative? So cumulative is as you go along, you find the frequency. For example, in here, they've just given you frequency in this column. But if you have to find the cumulative frequency, so I'm just going to read another column, just going to write it as Q2 frequency. Yeah, so it's going to be cumulative frequency. So the first one is just going to be 8. The next one would be 8 plus 10, which is 18. The one after that would be 18 plus 21, which is 39. So you kind of get the idea, right? So cumulative frequency is as you go along, you add along. So when you start with 8 and you move on to the next one, you add the frequency together, find the next one. Then add the frequency together, find the next one. In the same way, you add the frequency together, find the next one. So in this case, it would be 39 plus 19, which would be 40, 58. So we have 58 here. Once again, you add this together right here. This one would be 60, then 8 plus 3, which is 11. So that will be 71. Then finally here, which will give you 80. So you will start with this, then you slowly add along, and you get the cumulative. So they provided you another column in the question. I'm just going to write it here so you can have it in a new table. So what you have just found is the cumulative frequency from the frequency. Sometimes the question just gives the cumulative frequency, but sometimes they just give the frequency. So it's very important you read the question very carefully, because if they only give you frequency, you need to do this method to find the cumulative. If they give you cumulative, you don't really need to do anything. So be very careful when you read the question. So now that you have the cumulative frequency ready, it's all about plotting it in a graph. So let's just go down here. Here we go. So we have a graph. It's a bit too big, so I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, just so you can get the general idea. So now, once you know how to find the cumulative frequency, this is the fact you need to be careful about. When you plot a graph, you don't choose the first one in the range. You always choose the second number in the range. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do excuse this printing mistake. That was the printing mistake of the worksheet, but it needs to look similar to this question. Yeah. But other than that, you get the idea, right? You always plot on the highest value of the range. So in here, it's going to be 1, 8. So I'm just going to plot it at 1, 8. So try to be as precise as you can. Yeah. And then we have 458. 458. Then 571. And finally 680. So this cumulative frequency graph starts from 0, ends at 6. This is very important. Now let's move on to the third fact you need to keep in mind, is that your graph should always start from this starting point and end where the range ends. So what that means is if you have this graph like this, I'm just going to make it smaller again, it is not enough to simply connect the dots. You need to be careful enough to start at 0 and end at 6, because that's what the data says. if you do not start at 0, if the range says it starts at 0, you can lose a mark. So be very careful about this. Yeah, so the 3 things you need to be careful is just going to write on the bottom. The thing 1, find cumulative frequency. If it's given, you don't really need to care about this step, but if it's not, you need to find it. Second, use highest value in range. And finally, make sure to start at 0. So if you know these 3 key points, you're pretty much good to go in cumulative frequency. I hope this question and this video was helpful to you. So I would suggest practicing a bit more using the worksheet. I will definitely link this below. If you have any questions from the worksheet, let me know. So I have skipped a couple of questions regarding median, but since we were, so for example, here, estimate of interquartile range, but since we are in the cumulative frequency topic, I simply went through how to find cumulative frequency and how to draw them in a graph. But if you do need more of those video, let me know and I will make those. Perfect. So that's it for today. Thank you.